Hey, what's up, everybody? So, today we're going to be talking about a theory that's been circulating for a little while now that a couple of you have asked me to address, so I decided to do a video about it, and that is Quiet actually Chico? Now, when I first heard this theory, I honestly was like, no way, no. I was so convinced that I was even just gonna make a video, just 3 or 4 seconds, where I'd basically come in and be like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" So, no, that was supposed to be it. But after I did more research and actually unlocked all of Chico's tapes and listened to all of Chico's tapes multiple times, I started to think maybe it's not so impossible. Hell, there's more basis here than there is with the whole body double theory. So I don't know, but so I delved into it. I did some research, and let's see what I came up with. So one of the first things I always try to tackle when going into any of my theories is, one, you have to make sense of it in, does it make sense in general, in the world? Is it possible? Well, sex changes are possible in the real world, and Metal Gear Solid is based in the real world with a little, crazy elements tossed on top, but ultimately it's based in the real world. So real world research can be taken into it. In fact, a lot of the events in Metal Gear are based around real world events. So yeah, sex changes are real, basically, is what I'm pointing out. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Next, I always try to make sense of it in a story. Does it make sense in the narrative of Metal Gear? Is it something that just didn't happen? The thing about real life as opposed to a video game or a movie, anything like that, is that it has to make some sort of sense in the story. Even in the story, if it doesn't make any sense, if that makes any sense. I don't know. But basically, it has to have some sort of meaning or purpose, or have something. And does it? I think there may be actually a good reason, but I'll get into that later. First, I want to delve into the situation and kind of see what happened, why it could have happened, and everything like that. But for starters, let's just go with this. Now, at the very beginning of Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, we see Skullface talking to Chico, and he says to Chico, "You're a real man now." Or "You're a real man now, soldier," or "You're a real man now, Chico," something like that. But honestly, when I first heard this line, I thought it was a reference to Peace Walker, when Big Boss first meets Chico, and they have their little conversation, and he says, "You're an hombre nuevo," or hombre nuevo, a new man. I thought it had something to do with that, and then after he says it, Chico raises his head up, so I thought it was a throwback or something like that. But when you actually listen to Chico's tapes, you realize that it has a completely different meaning. So anybody who hasn't listened to the tapes, I suggest you go and do that, because the audio clips are so long that I'm not going to put the whole thing in the video, but I do have a video posted with the audio in it, so if you want to go listen to it, you can go listen to it, and I'll put a link in the description or something. But pretty much, the gist of the scenario is that Chico is being tortured along with Paz, and he is forced to rape Paz, and that is why Skullface is telling him he's a real man now, because he's had sex. And yeah, it's pretty fucked up. This game is going to the darker places. This game is definitely taking you to the darker side of war, and it's a lot more gritty, a lot more real, and I love it. But it's just it's kind of crazy. And the fucked up thing about these videos is that they're not even film. It's just audio. It's all audio. But it's so it's so disturbing. It just gives so much credit to the game, what Phantom Pain is going to be, that they could do that with just audio and nothing else. That goes above and beyond. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, but a lot of people believe that because of the torture he underwent, including the torture him and Paz underwent, caused him to later decide to get a sex change. And I kind of wanted to try to understand this from a psychological point of view as well as a narrative point of view. And so I did some research into people who have sex changes. And I've learned more than I probably cared to know, but anyway. Now, this is research based on the specific subject. Things I say do not apply in a general sense to like all people who have sex changes, anything like that. I'm not here to, I'm not making any stands or saying anything's this way or that way or black and white, whatever, I'm a live and let live kind of guy. Do what you want to make you happy. So don't take any of this as any type of offense towards any person, people, or groups of people, whatever. I'm just being general with it, all right? I got to say these things so that people don't angry comment below or whatever, But they'll probably still angry comment, I don't know. Anyway, in my research I found that a number of people that often undergo sex changes suffer from gender identity disorder, which is basically like you don't identify with your own gender, you feel like, you're not right as who you are, and you feel like you identify with the other gender a lot better, basically. There's lots of research on it. You can probably look it up for yourself, but that's kind of like the broad sense of it. But in that research, I found that some of the cases are tied to sexual abuse. So, does this give precedence for Chico developing this disorder? I think it does. It makes sense in that, because not only is Chico, he underwent this type of abuse, but he also was very young when it happened. He's still a kid. Even though, they say he's a man, he's still in his teenage years. He's still developing as a person. And, this type of shit can fuck people up. It just is. So based on that, I think it's possible that he could have started to detach from his own gender and want to attach to the other gender. And then I'm being very vague because it kind of feeds into my other point. Does it make sense in the narrative of the story? Yes, it could make sense in the narrative of the story, because think about the situation he was in. He liked Paz. He really liked her. He had a crush on her, everything like that. He really cared about her. That's why he went looking for her. And then, he's forced in the situation where he's forced to actually rape her, and it's very fucked up in that situation. Because then, imagine that, he's forced to do this, why? Because he's a man, and he has the ability to do this because he has all the nooks and crannies that he needs to, you guys know how it all works. I'm just saying, I don't want to get too graphic with these videos in description, but you understand how the process works. He could have only done that really because he was a dude. And you think about it in those terms, it's kind of like, he would hate himself because of what he did, and then also he would hate himself because he is a man, because he did what he did. It's really fucked up, because when you really think about it, it's really fucked up. It's just, I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. It really is. When you try to delve into the mind of the person, it's how messed up it actually is, because it's not like he can just do it willy-nilly. He has to get enriched and all that. So yeah, it's pretty fucked up when you think about it like that. So, but that would cause him to kind of, hate not only himself, but also hate his gender. And then, that could definitely lead to this type of disorder, and then lead into him wanting to have a sex change to become a woman, not only for himself, but possibly to continue the life that Paz lost as a woman himself, I guess. Would be kind of representing like the story and everything, and make sense of all that. So yeah, I think that it makes sense in the kind of narrative and the psychological points, and it could work if they chose to do it. If it did happen, I could see it making sense in the story. Another thing I noticed, this one's actually kind of pretty interesting if you think about it in a weird way, but when Chico is rescued and we see him on the helicopter and everything, we notice that he has metal rods inserted into his ankles, so he's basically hobbled, so he can't run away. Well, a lot of people would kind of write that off as being a reason why Quiet could not be Chico. Like, Chico was hobbled. How can Quiet walk, do all that? But in the newest trailer we got from E3 this year, we actually see Quiet fighting some dudes, and she's like mad hops. She's jumping around like crazy. And then I was thinking, like, wait a minute, you know, Big Boss has like a whole arm that's just like a machine. What's to stop them from replacing, you know, Chico's heels and giving him some like robot spring hooker boots, something going on? Like, what if they replace that? And then that's why he's got mad hops is Quiet. Like, could make sense, because she jumps way too high than a normal person. I don't like, and it's very awkwardly jumping. I don't know. I'll play a clip you guys can see. Another interesting thing is that Quiet apparently does not speak. Before I thought it was because she was tortured and had her tongue cut out, but apparently that has changed, and I'm not 100% sure what the going thing is now. But regardless of that, we know that she does not speak, and a narrative explanation for this is perhaps because, you know, even though Chico would have had a sex change, he would still have his voice, and even if it would lighten up, it would still be his voice, and perhaps he was so ashamed of who he was that he decided not to speak anymore. And, you know, that just kind of adds a little more to that. So we made sense of it from a psychological point of view, we made sense of it from a narrative point of view. But how far can we go with this? Now it's time to counter theory, basically. Let's go against some of the points that, you know, what are some points against this theory? Well, one of the points against this theory was made on Kojima Station, episode number 6 in English, was where basically a viewer posed a comment asking if they've heard of the theory that Chico is Quiet.
People in the chat are asking if we know about the theory that Quiet is Chico.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen spreadsheets.
You guys really thought about that one.
You guys,
Yeah,
that's pretty good actually. That's a pretty good, good theory.
an interesting theory.
It's true. It's true.
It's all true.
It's all true.
Dude, I was disturbed. I was really disturbed when I read that. I was just like, Chico's what?
Yeah. Anyway, we're not, no spoilers on this show.
No
so
comments.
We will not say whether that's true or not.
No comments.
But you keep the conspiracy theories coming. It's all fun.
They got a good laugh out of it, and they just kind of seem like they didn't really even expect that to be a theory, and though they did not officially confirm or deny anything. Also, in the Japanese version of Kojima Station, episode 9, they speak to Stephanie Justin, which is the face and mocap model for Quiet, and they ask her about the theory, and she pretty much responds that Chico is a man and Quiet is a woman. Basically, not saying exactly outright that they're different people, but implying it heavily. Now, I don't have a clip of this because I looked for it. I found the actual Kojima Station, but it was all in Japanese, and I don't speak Japanese, and there were no subtitles, so I couldn't really get a hold of it. But the source I got it from was Metal Gear Wiki, which says that that's what she says. So they were right about the other one, so if you want to check that out, I'm sure you could probably find it if you look hard enough. Now, I won't deny that Chico and Quiet definitely have some similar features. They both have brown hair, though Chico's appears to be a bit lighter than Quiet's. Quiet seems to be very dark colored. But they both have green eyes, or appear to have green eyes. I'm pretty sure Chico does, and I'm pretty sure Quiet does. But it's always kind of hard to tell, you know. But they have the same color hair and eyes, essentially. But the key difference between the two is the skin tone. Chico is Nicaraguan, so he has that kind of natural tan look, while Quiet, in comparison, is very pale, which kind of leads me to believe that they're not the same person, because that's not something you would lose. You can dye your hair, you can put in color contacts, but you can't really change the color of your skin, unless you're Michael Jackson. Another thing that would result in me thinking that this is not a plausible theory is because people who undergo sex changes have to undergo hormone therapy, which means they're prescribed like different hormones and stuff they have to take in order to like bring out their other characteristics, bring out the characteristics of the opposite sex in them. So that means Chico would be on constant medication for that, and in a war zone that seems highly impractical that you would do that. So I mean, all those things just kind of go. Plus, it just seems like I don't know. It makes sense, but then at the same time, I just don't see that being the case. So I don't really think that this will happen in the game. But also, this theory is not one that I would have had myself. Like, even if I were presented the information before having heard this theory, I would not have come to this conclusion myself. So that is kind of my reason for not really believing wholeheartedly into it. Another thing that kind of goes against it is Quiet's outfit. Quiet probably has one of the most promiscuous outfits in all of Metal Gear. Like, when I first saw her, I was just like, oh, it's just a soldier in a bikini top. And then I actually saw like the whole model of her, and then I was like, what the is she's just wearing a bikini top, like pantyhose and a thong. Like that's it. And I'm just like, whoa. I don't, trust me, the man inside of me was like, yay, and then the rational person inside of me was like, yay, but then there's that little part inside of me that was like, that's a little too much. It's just like, why not just have her just be naked, just out there with the sniper rifle naked? And it's weird too, because they're in a desert environment and she's so damn pale. I don't know. But anyway, I may have gotten a little off topic there. I wouldn't think that somebody that recently underwent a sex change would dress like that provocatively. I don't know. I mean, really, you could kind of take that either way. Like, he was so happy that he's now a woman that he decides to, show everything off. But at the same time, I don't know. It depends on how long he's been a woman and everything, but I don't know. I guess that one's open for debate, so yeah. Given all these facts and everything, my personal opinion is that I don't think Quiet is Chico. But, like I always say, I never rule anything out 100%, or I always try to, explain things and theorize, and that's what I've done here. If you guys enjoy the video, subscribe, leave me a comment if you want me to talk about something else Metal Gear related, not Metal Gear related. Yeah, that's all I got to say today, and I'll talk to you guys later.